Hello Bloomington, I'm Mayor Tim Busse, and this is the Council Minute for the week of June 7th. Coming to you this week from an empty City Council chambers, but it won't be that way for long. More on that in just a minute. At our council meeting on Monday, staff shared plans for the reopening of Creekside Community Center. As I'm sure many of you know, Creekside has been closed to the public since before St. Patrick's Day in 2020. Creekside manager Jill Murphy told the City Council that the facility will reopen to indoor activity on Thursday, July 8th. And to celebrate, the entire community is invited to a reopen house at Creekside on Wednesday, July 7th from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll have treats, information on programming, and a chance to reconnect with old friends. Some of the specifics you need to know. Creekside will have modified hours for the rest of the year. Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it will be closed on Saturday and Sunday. The majority of your favorite programs will be back, including arts and crafts, card groups, education, fitness, music, and recreation. Fare for All will continue to be offered every other month at Creekside, and Loaves and Fishes, which was relocated to Oak Grove Presbyterian Church in January of this year, it will continue at Oak Grove, and they'll continue to serve meals Monday through Friday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And regrettably, the Creekside lunch program will not be continuing because of budget issues. When Creekside reopens, face coverings will be welcome but will not be required. Staff are working on detailed safety precautions specific to Creekside, things like program capacities and cleaning and disinfecting and other guidelines, with the goal of keeping all participants safe. Creekside isn't the only building reopening. Civic Plaza, Public Health, and Public Works will all reopen for walk-in service on Monday, June 14th. While city staff has been doing business on an appointment basis over the past year to make sure that your needs are taken care of, on June 14th, all of our counters will be fully staffed. Keep in mind that some services that required appointments before the pandemic, things like passport services, they will still be by appointment only. If you have any questions about what is available and what is open, be sure to call ahead and our staff will gladly help you out. It also means that the City Council will be coming back to in-person meetings, and that the council chambers will be open for the public to attend City Council meetings. We'll still be conducting council meetings in a hybrid fashion, with some people participating virtually until the governor's emergency declaration is lifted. And you'll still be able to call in for public comment and for public hearings. Also, the farmers market returns this Saturday. Doesn't it feel great to be getting back to normal? For the past 14 months, our expert staff from Bloomington Public Health has provided COVID updates to the council and to all of Bloomington during City Council meetings. The update we received on Monday is scheduled to be the last of these regular reports. According to Dr. Nick Kelly, our public health administrator, there has been a significant shift in COVID-19 in the past month as we see the growing impact of vaccines in our community. We are now experiencing the lowest case rates of COVID-19 in Bloomington since April of 2020, and we expect that cases will continue to remain low for the near future. In fact, this week may be the first week in 14 months where we are consistently reporting a 7-day rolling average of new cases under 5 per 100,000 here in Bloomington. This is great news, and I can't say enough about the incredible work done by our staff at Bloomington Public Health. Since they started vaccinations in January, Public Health has put more than 19,000 shots in the arms of people in our community. That is a huge number. And it wouldn't have been possible without the incredible partnership between Public Health, co-workers from around the city of Bloomington, colleagues in Edina and Richfield, and members of our Medical Reserve Corps. In February, we launched our vaccine clinics right here at Civic Plaza. On Saturday, June 5th, we completed the last of our 66 clinics right here. Our team is now shifting clinic operations to our public health building and a mobile clinic task force that provides vaccinations at community sites. Now, despite all of the good news, it's important to remember that many of our neighbors are still dealing with challenges from the pandemic, especially kids under 12 who aren't eligible to be vaccinated and anyone over 12 who is not yet vaccinated. Folks, if you are eligible, please get vaccinated. Don't put it off any longer. If you have any questions about the vaccine, contact Bloomington Public Health or talk to your healthcare provider. We know that for some, the hours or the locations of clinics is a challenge. If that's the case, let us know so that we can work something out with you to get you a vaccine. If you have friends, neighbors, or coworkers or loved ones who are not vaccinated, encourage them to get vaccinated. You can find a COVID-19 vaccine near you by visiting vaccines.gov. I want to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Nick Kelly for the wealth of information he and his team at Public Health have provided to the council, to our staff, and to the entire community. Knowledge is power. And during a time when so many people felt powerless against this virus, the information we were given made a huge difference for us to make good decisions to help keep our community safe. This past Monday, Interim Police Chief Mike Hartley presented a public safety update to the council and to the community. Chief Hartley is joining me today to share with you what he and the Bloomington Police Department reported. Chief Hartley, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Chief, we have seen an uptick in the number of crimes reported over the past year, and it looks like those numbers are starting to trend downward again. Can you spend a minute just talking about how we track crime statistics and what the numbers look like currently?
Sure. We're required to submit our crime numbers each year to the FBI and also the state, the BCA, and we are seeing a 14% decrease from the beginning of October of 2020. And so as we work through 2020 and some pretty challenging times and some anomalies in crime trends, I am happy to announce that we are seeing a downturn in crime. We still got some work to do. We do have a couple of violent crimes trends. We've got aggravated assaults and also robberies that are a little higher, but we will be working on trying to address those as best we can with the resources we have in the police department.
Absolutely. So I know, Chief, that you and the department have been very focused on transparency. In fact, earlier this year you launched a data dashboard. How can residents access this information from the data dashboard?
To access the site, they can go to what's listed. And the data dashboard allows residents to take a look into a little deeper dive, readily available information that they would have had to request from the police department before. But now on our website, everything from arrest reports to crime maps to traffic details, calls for service, all this stuff will give the residents just a broader picture of what the work we're doing each and every day and how that affects their neighborhood.
Now, you mentioned crime maps, and the crime maps on the dashboard really help illustrate something that I think residents want to be reassured about, and that's that Bloomington neighborhoods are largely safe areas, right? I mean,
Yes.
So what can residents do to help keep their neighborhoods safe?
Yeah, that's a question we get often, and it's a good one. First and foremost, open communication with their neighbors. Let your neighbors know, introduce yourself. You should be doing that anyway. But so that when you're not around, people know kind of what cars should be in the driveway, who should be coming and going, and just looking out for one another. Call the police if you have suspicions, and it's not just necessarily someone who just happens to be walking down the street. They may not look like they live in the area, but really suspicions that are grounded in maybe there's been recent burglaries in the area, maybe there's other things going on, but give us an opportunity to come out, make contact with individuals. I highly recommend people, our block captain, our neighborhood crime watch program. These are all ways to keep connected, to get updates from the police department, to let you know when things in your neighborhood may not be as what we want. Maybe the burglaries or some crime trends, but just a way to stay connected with the police department.
And we'll be getting back to National Night Out this year, won't we?
We will be.
I can't wait. Fabulous. So one of the most challenging issues during this pandemic has been an increase in calls for service in areas around hotels where people who are experiencing homelessness have been living. Can you provide an update on how our staff has worked together to mitigate some of those issues and where we stand now?
Yes. Last summer we did see an uptick in some of the hotels that were offering the services to those in need. And it was a full collaboration with other city staff, other departments, business owners, the nonprofit service providers to really address the problem as a whole. We recognized very early that this is not just a law enforcement program. We're not going to come in and be able to arrest our way out of the problem. And a lot of the calls for service to the hotels were not criminal behavior. They were check on the welfare, medical. And so creating those relationships, that constant dialogue between all interested parties really helped address the specific needs of the problem and then allow us to go in and make the changes and enforcement measures that we needed to take to curb those problems. We've seen a drop in the number of calls for service and crimes being committed in those hotels. And again, hats off to not only the police department, but other city departments that helped out.
Agree 100% on that. Finally, Chief, you spent a fair amount of time talking about the training that our police officers undergo here in the city of Bloomington. In fact, we provide annual training that is more than twice the average hours of the state-mandated training. Can you share a little bit about that training, what it means for Bloomington officers and for Bloomington in general?
The Bloomington Police Department has always put a high stake on training. I think it's one of the most important things. Hats off to the council through the years to support the budgets that support that training. But I think we realize that a well-trained police officer is going to go out and serve the community in a much higher and have a higher impact in what jobs we expect them to do. This is a tough job, but when you're properly trained, you can go out and whether it's de-escalation, whether it's just enhanced communication skills, all those things contribute to just a better service delivery to those that we have contact each and every day. And again, as I mentioned earlier, not every single contact with a police officer is because of a criminal offense. And so we're asking the men and women of the police department to do things that would probably borderline more on social work, more on counselor, but that added training in the areas of cultural competency, in use of force areas, in dealing with mental health and those in crisis have really paid big dividends for our police department.
Absolutely, absolutely, Chief. Chief Hartley, thank you. Thank you very much for the work that you do, for spending time with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it.
I strongly encourage all of you, check out the Chief's presentation from Monday night's meeting, and be sure to check out the data dashboard on the police's page of the city's website. That is a wrap on this week's Council Minute. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, stay safe, Bloomington.